Hello, fellow seekers. The reading for today is from Matthew chapter 13, verses 24 through 30 and 36 through 43. Jesus put before the crowd another parable. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to someone who sowed good seed in his field. But while everybody was asleep, an enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat, and then went away. So when the plants came up and bore grain, then the weeds appeared as well. And the workers of the household came to the boss and said, "Did you not sow good seed in your field? Where then did these weeds come from?" He answered, "An enemy has done this." The workers said to him, "Then do you want us to go and gather them?" But he replied, "No, for in gathering the weeds you would also uproot the wheat. Let both of them grow together until the harvest, and at harvest time I will tell the reapers, collect the weeds first and bind them in bundles to be burned, but gather the wheat into my barn." Then he left the crowds and went into the house. And his disciples approached him, saying, "Explain to us the parable of the weeds of the field." He answered, "The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom. The weeds are the children of the evil one, and the enemy who sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are angels. Just as the weeds are collected and burned up with fire, so it will be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send his angels, and they will collect out of his kingdom all causes of sin and all evildoers, and they will throw them into the furnace of fire, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Let anyone with ears listen." Today's passage in Matthew, Jesus is continuing to speak in parables to those that are listening. Last week, we heard Jesus talk about our hearts being like soil, and depending on how ready we are to hear the love of God will determine how long it stays with us. Jesus turns his attention toward a more big picture about mankind and what he and his disciples are doing then and now. Jesus says the message of the gospel is being spread all over the place. The gospel tells us that we have access to God through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and that we have forgiveness through that sacrifice, and that forgiveness gives us life filled with joy and eternal peace. This message lands on all kinds of soil, but those whose hearts are ready, it begins to grow. Jesus warns that at the same time the message of the gospel is being spread, there is an evil one sowing a very different message. The message of evil is one of selfishness, hatred, and resentment, and that message ultimately brings misery and death. Jesus says that unfortunately it is difficult to tell the difference, and so you can't immediately weed it out, and you have to wait until it grows in order to recognize the wheat from the weeds. Jesus says at the same point the harvest will come and the weeds will be removed and burned. He's talking about a time when everyone will be examined, and what you have let grow will be judged. It is up to us to choose what we will let grow. We could choose the gospel of Jesus, the message of love and joy and hope, or we could choose evil, the message of hatred and misery and nihilism. What I find interesting is that although Jesus is speaking about what is often referred to as the end times, this message is very important to us today. We look around in the world and we see a lot of division and polarization. People are divided, but the message of Jesus has for us is that the gospel cuts through all the division. We are all human, and we all need to experience love from God and from each other. If we take this message and I can apply it immediately in my life, I could see what message I'm allowing to grow in my heart. It is clear that the gospel is the message I want to have grow, but there are times that the evil message also grows, and I don't even realize it until it actually needs to be harvested. It is at that time that I ask God to get rid of that message. Jesus tells us that it will be burned away, and for that I am thankful. At the end of every day, I pray that God removes the weeds. I ask that the gospel of Jesus will be the message that is lived out in my daily life, the message of love and joy and hope, not the message of hatred and misery and nihilism. Amen.